What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Think Big podcast. Hopefully, my service stays in and it's strong with the Wi Fi. It is episode 80, week 80. We've got the three horsemen back up here. Last week, it was Alejandro and myself. Sam was under the weather, but he is back looking better than ever, looking healthier than ever, looking like his jawline has gotten more chiseled. Not sure how he did that, but apparently he got it more chiseled while he was away. Tonight we're going to be talking about, and by the way, guys, how's my audio? Is it choppy? Am I cutting in and out?
You're
No,
good.
your audio's good.
Perfect. I want to make sure if it does get choppy, let me know. I can switch over to my cell phone hotspot because we are in the middle of I don't want to say nowhere, Pennsylvania. We actually found a town today. They had grocery stores and gas stations, so that was cool. But we are out in the woods of Pennsylvania right now. This week, I'm excited. We're going to be talking about how to hire. Now, the reason we're coming in on this topic, to give you guys some context, is 2 weeks ago, we decided we wanted to make more content for the audience. Therefore, each of us, in our own way, through our own social media platforms, through our own networks, started reaching out and asking, what do you need help with? And in Sam fashion, Sam made a story post that started to get a lot of response. A lot of people started DMing him, and he started to see there was a correlation with the questions they were asking. They were concerned with how to properly hire, specifically how to properly hire a person in acquisitions, an acquisitions manager, somebody that's going to help be able to generate new sales opportunities, someone that's going to be able to keep the leads warm and moving. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about that. We're going to make then also just cover back.
Is he doing
There
the
you
thing,
go.
Sam?
You're back now.
Awesome. So we're going to be covering hiring and specifically speaking towards that. Now, as we go through it, what's really interesting and what I like about this, you'll probably see some similarities in the way that Alejandro does hiring and the ways that Sam does hiring and the way that I do hiring. And then you're also going to notice there'll be a little bit differences as well based on probably, I would say, our personalities and overall goal. And that's important to understand. So as we're going through, you'll be hearing us share what we found worked best for us. And that's really the best kind of advice I ever like to hear. Like, that's why I like talking to Sam, because Sam never says, Marlon, do this. Sam always says, Marlon, this is what I did. This is what I'm doing. This is what's been done. Or this is what I've learned from the person who's doing it at the highest level that I paid boatloads of money to basically steal their secrets and get their 40 years of business experience in a week. So without further ado, let's jump into this. Sam, do you have by chance the specific question from that person? Or is it going to be a little bit more kind of a conglomerate of all the questions that came in?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a mixed bag. And what I want us to do is I want us to be very clear that the reality is an acquisitions person, a sales rep, doesn't matter what industry they're in. You can actually apply the same thing. So what I would like for us to do, if possible, is I have multiple businesses, but two that are both pacing at seven figures a year now, and they're fundamentally different businesses, but how I hire and train for them are actually fundamentally the same. And so what I want people to understand is we may be talking, you may be thinking, oh, this is, a lead manager, a follow-up specialist, or a closer for a wholesale business. But the reality is you can apply this to any business that has any form of sales and marketing, period. So what I would like for us to do is try to be as tactical as possible, understanding that this can apply to a wholesale business, to a lending business, to a coaching business, to a anything business, selling solar, selling roofing, selling all the things, right? Because I do fundamentally believe they're the same. But what I want to do is I want to start with this, is I want to start with like kind of like a pie in the sky idea and get your guys' perspective on this. And I want to hear from each of you guys. And because this is something that I have a very opinionated opinion on. And how do you guys feel about this, Marlon? I'm curious because I got this question today from someone. Someone came to me today and they have a lot of money, right? This person's making almost $500,000 a year in their W-2. I want to figure out what freaking W-2 that is, which is insane. And so they're coming into this industry. They don't have the experience of building a business, of a sales and marketing business, but they have, they have some time and they have a lot of money. Their question is this, because they're being told by every goddamn influencer on earth, right, that they listen to, that you need to do the work yourself before you hire the people, that you need to cold call, that you need to close the seller, that you need to do all the things. And in effect, guys, that's called bottom up hiring, right? Where you start at the bottom, you hire the lowest activity, lowest task priority person, like a cold caller. Then you hire the lead manager. Now you're a closer, and then you eventually hire yourself out as a closer. So, Marlon, I'm curious with you because you have a different business, right? Like, I don't have a coaching business. I don't have that kind of aspect to it. I want to see if you and I view things the same thing. Do you believe that top-down hiring? I'm a firm believer in top-down hiring. Do you believe that top-down hiring is the way to go, or do you believe that bottom-up hiring is the way to go?
I believe for the sake, depending on what your intention is, if your intention is to grow a business as quickly, efficiently, and effectively as possible, it's going to be top-down hiring. The bottom-up hiring, I believe there's a time and place for bottom-up. There's a time and place for go and figure it out, go and get your hands dirty, go and learn the process. And that's for the sake of building character and confidence, right? Like hard work. This is truly what I believe. Hard work will not get you rich.
Facts.
You could be a hard worker working at McDonald's. You could be a hard worker. My father was a hard worker. He worked as a postal delivery mail. So he was a postman. And one of the hardest working men I know. Like the guy was he woke up, took care of our family. I absolutely love him for that. However, that job did not translate into material wealth. So hard work builds character. Smart work builds effective businesses that print money. From that standpoint, our job, and it took my mind a while to understand this, our job is to be able to understand and communicate what does success look like. And if I can effectively communicate what success looks like, I don't need to be the person doing the work. And my prime example of this is I flip houses. And a lot of people make the mistake of believing that I know how to handle tools, how to handle electric saws and hammers and all that stuff. I really don't. If you put a hammer in my hand, it's not a tool, it's a weapon. And the only person that gets hurt is me. I understood, though, what the finished product needed to look like and who I needed to go and hire. The GCs, the contractors, the handymen. I understood that small bit of it. And this is what the end product needs to look like. And I was able to put the right people in place. And as a result, a person who has no handyman skills has been able to flip houses and make a lot of money. So to answer your question, Sam, top-down hiring makes the most sense. And in order to be able to do so, it just requires a person being able to define success effectively and be able to give the resources to their people.
Beautiful. Alejandro, what do you think about that?
I think it's BS if you want to learn everything by yourself. I'm actually was one of those people that did learn everything first before I started hiring. But I look back at it, especially having conversation with you, Sam, it's like, yeah, I don't even like doing 90% of this thing. Why do I care about doing it? I would say the pros of doing it that way is that you are educated to a certain extent on those departments, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to succeed fast or quicker or smarter. It just means you have some type of knowledge that you can just conversate or protect yourself in any type of situation, which you still can't do it by hiring the people from top down and get the information to learn from them anyways. But 1000% you will get to your goals 10 times faster. Maybe that's an understatement to achieve your goals. So you'll get there 10 times faster by hiring from top down. Bottom up is a scam. Don't do it.
Bottom up is a scam. God, I love that. Okay, so I want to hit this on a tactical standpoint. And at the end of the day, I've had tons of people who come to me and said, Sam, bottom up is the way to go. I've had influencers who are notable in the industry tell me, Sam, that's what we teach our students. And not a single one of them has been able to refute me from a tactical standpoint. And no one has ever been able to give me a data-driven kind of position about why this works from a mathematical standpoint, from a leverage standpoint. The reality is this: the only people who should be doing bottom-up hiring are the people who are broke as a joke and have no clue what they're doing at all. That is it. And then if you hang around us enough, if you come to my master classes enough times, you will find out that even if you are broke as a joke and you don't know what you're doing, you still should not be doing bottom-up hiring. And the reason is this: to Marlon's point, you only need two things. You need resources in terms of capital, potentially, depending on the pipeline that you're trying to build, and you need to be able to define what success looks like. What does that mean, guys? What does success mean? When we say that arbitrarily, hey, guys, define success. A lot of people may be wondering, well, it's like, hey, Sam, hey, Marlon, well, what the fuck does that mean? Is that like, do I just tell my person I want a signed contract and I want a deal? Is that what success? No. Guys, success in a role is not the actual outcome of making money. Success in any role, in any business, in any corporation is one thing, and it is for the person in the role to complete a set of inputs on a given basis, on a given time basis, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly. So what does success mean in terms of hiring for a real estate business for, cold callers? It means that they're going to pick up the phone and make 1,000 dials a day. It means that a closer is going to make an offer, a qualified offer a day, or 2 offers a day, whatever it is. That is all that success means. Now, Marlon, how do we explicitly, in a very hardline fashion, how do we document success? What can we document it? Can we document what success looks like in a business?
You cut out a little bit, but I believe you asked the question, can you document success, or how can we document success? And the answer is yes. It's for an acquisitions job, the answer is absolutely yes. And really it comes down to a few major pieces. But ultimately in acquisitions, it's going to be conversations with motivated sellers, right? Or with motivated prospects, right? Motivated leads. So how many conversations are you having with your motivated lead, your motivated prospects, and how many times are you offering? Like, what's the conversion rate on your conversations? So we can track that sort of stuff. And I would argue it's really important to track, not just for the company, but for the individual to be able to have feedback on, hey, when I have these sort of conversations, I can see what's converting and what's not, what's working and what's not. But it is trackable.
So I love that. The reality is you're absolutely right. In a business, guys, in any given role, success in its documented form is what we call a standard operating procedure. It's known as an SOP. Literally just means in some way, shape, or form, on a Word doc, on a graph, in a video, on a Loom, on something existing in your business's ecosystem, okay, you have a showcase, a demo, a screenshot, a video, step by step, written, right? What a given procedure or task needs to look like. And a lot of people, they think, well, that needs to be complicated. It doesn't need to be complicated at all. In fact, for me, as a visionary who thinks so in the clouds very often, it's very hard for me to actually understand that simplifying is actually the key. And sometimes for visionaries, the reason why we don't do so well with SOPs is because the best SOPs, they're not complex. The best SOPs are actually very simple. And that's what's hard for us to take an idea, closing a seller, pitching creative finance, right? Coming up with an MAO, all of these things that we know strategically up here, to actually document them step by step on a Word document, that can be difficult. And I know this because we're revamping a certain division of my business because we're growing so much and our SOPs need to be revamped. But I will say this, guys, and I want to kind of paint this, and I always use this example, and it's the McDonald's example. How simple should SOPs be? In every McDonald's in America, okay, if not the world. In every employee bathroom, there is a step-by-step chart that has pictures on it, right, of a drawing of hands, washing hands, as in put soap on your hand, rub them together, rinse them off. Something that we all believe to be common sense, but they have literally laminated attached to every wall as a corporate policy in every McDonald's bathroom in the country. They've showcased how to wash your hands in case it wasn't clear. Now, if McDonald's, the largest, most successful, franchise chain in history, is doing that, you need to apply that same for something as simple as washing your hands, right? In your business, whether it's wholesaling or lending or selling roofs or education, you're selling coaching, whatever it is, you need to make sure that your SOPs in your business are equally as simplified. And very often, and here's the key that I'm learning, guys, is I think you guys talk to me a lot. You guys know that I'm generally not a visual person. I just talk and I can understand the topics in my head. I don't need to see things visually. I don't need to see things in the written format. I'm not a note taker. Like Marlon, you've been with me enough times to know that I don't take notes, right? I take mental notes on things that resonate with me and I ponder them and they stick and I'm good with that. The reality is this: an element of good leadership, an element of how to hire, we're going to get into some specific tactical hiring steps real soon, is to understand that your way of thinking is not the only way of thinking. And that if you think everyone learns the same way as you, you will actually fail in hiring. And that was one of the greatest pitfalls for me. So I want to talk about, someone who I adore in my business. It is my dispositions director. Her name is Sasha. Sasha is the polar opposite of me. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm kind of like a hardline human being, right? I don't mince words. I'm not spiritual, and I'm just very kind of to the point. It's how I've always been. Sasha is the complete opposite, very much like Marlon. I think Marlon and her would get along perfectly. And I had to realize that Sasha doesn't learn the way that I do. She needs things communicated to her in a different fashion. So when you are building out SOPs, and we'll talk about that, what that looks like in a second. But when you're building SOPs, you need to build them so someone else who learns visually in the written format, and even like people who learn through hearing, through audio, you need to be able to cater to all of them. So that's actually absolutely critical. Now, Marlon and Alejandro, both of you guys, I actually want to hear this. I had this topic today with someone who was coming to me and they say, Sam, I've got all this money, but I'm kind of worried. Do I need to start hiring and put everyone on payroll? At a business at a high level, okay, truthfully, I want to just nip this shit in the bud. Do people need to be on W-2 for your business to grow at a really high level?
When you say do people need to be on W-2, are you talking about the employees or are you talking about the person starting the business?
Your employees.
No.
What about you?
To start? No.
What about to reach a high level?
Well, yeah, if you're talking long-term growth and you're really building something that's going to withstand the test of time, people need to, in my opinion, people need to be able to see a future with you and your company. And the sort of people that you're looking for that are going to be the solid employees require stability, right? So they need to understand, can I build my life around your business, your company as a foundation? And so from that standpoint, there's going to be certain employees that highly value stability, in which case you need to be able to show them the pathway with you to that, or they'll eventually.
So, okay. So what about you, Alejandro? Do you think that in order, let's just say if you want to get your business, not at the beginning, but let's just say you want your business to do $1 million plus a year, right? $1 billion plus a year, and you want to keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
Are all your people going to be on commission, or do you want them to be on salary, like an official W-2?
It depends on the department, but for sure, W-2, it's going to be the most secure way of decreasing the amount of uncertainty or the negative thoughts in your environment. Some people will be commissioned strictly. I do believe that you should have a mix of both at least, because if you have the W-2, the salary, and you have some commission on top of that, it will definitely keep the rising star, the person that wants to work harder. It's going to definitely incentivize them to surpass their current beliefs, and it's going to be beneficial to your business.
Okay, so I love this topic. I think this. I think that at the end of the day, if you want to scale, your people should be on W-2. There can be an exception made depending on the type of pipeline that you're trying to build. But if you want an extremely predictable business, then everyone should be on W-2, ideally at scale. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people think, okay, well, W-2, that's something I'm going to get into when I'm 2 years in, 3 years in, right? I'm not going to do it right off the bat. And I would love to hear you guys take on this. This does come down to hiring. We all accept that if you have someone on W-2 on a $50,000 a year work contract, right? They're on a salary. They're locked into your business, right? You are going to get the most out of that person, right? And you may even give them a commission structure on every single deal that you close. Beautiful. We know that's the best thing to do, right? I think people worry about having the money and putting up the money. It's like, damn, putting up, $50K a year. I can't do math, whatever that is, like $3-4 grand a month, right? Something to that effect, right? 2-3-4 grand, whatever it is per month. Whatever that cost is per month, they're afraid of putting up that hard cost, right? So have you guys ever seen someone do a salary structure so they can launch their business the right way, but not have to put up the money up front?
I'm not sure I understand that question. Go ahead, Marlon.
I was going to say, what I've seen is people do a salary structure based on, it was more, the structure was this. It was, we're going to pay you a baseline salary. There's commission involved as well. But the commissions you earn, if it goes a long time and you're not producing, right, and we're continuing to pay your salary, later when you get your commission, we're taking back a portion of the money from your commission in the future, from your future earnings, that we were able to give you payment as you were stabilizing yourself in this job and position going forward. So I've seen
that. That's so creative. Okay, so, and here's why I say this, because I've never heard anyone say this publicly, and this is something that I started doing, and I didn't realize that like no one else taught this or thought about this. And I'm like, wait a minute, this makes common sense. Because for anyone that knows, my background was working for the government in a field where every single thing we did, every time we got a new job, we had what's called probation. And probation is basically this: you're going to start working and you're not going to get paid, or you'll have modified pay, right? To basically make sure that you hit your metrics and you're worth your salt. And you basically have a period of time where you have to prove yourself, right, through probation. And then once you've cleared it, then you get all the benefits that you were promised in the beginning. Now, I got into this industry and I just ran with that. So this is something I've never said publicly, guys. I don't think I've ever said this publicly. I've said this to extremely high-level friends who have all come to me with the same issue, and that is how to hire sales guys and get good quality sales guys who don't leave you in 5 minutes. That's the key, because you can get a good sales guy. He's going to crush it. He's going to make 20 grand, and then he's out. So how do you get people to be married to you, right? That's the key. And I've always given this advice. I've never shared this publicly. So I hope that you guys can take this tactically and put it into your business and then start crushing, because to me, not having the money for a salary doesn't mean that you don't hire someone on salary. So for a sales position, you 1,000% should hire someone on salary plus commission in any business, in any field. I don't give a damn which one it is. That's going to be anywhere between $1 to $2 grand, $3 grand a month. Typically about $2 grand a month is probably about solid on the salary itself. It's nominal, guys. It's nominal. It's 24 grand a year. You know what that does? Is it just takes care of their bills. It makes sure that they're not worried about the lights not turning on at home. Okay. It gives them that security to know they're always going to make a paycheck. Then the commissions you're going to pay out on a quarterly basis, because in a real estate, guys, we're not going to pay people out per deal. You're going to pay out on quarterly dividends because you're, a big boy and you know how to do business right. And this is what you do. You actually hire people on probation. You have a 90-day, a quarter-long probation cycle. And this is critical, guys. I would write this all down if you guys are struggling. Luke says, I think the hesitancy with the salary structure off the bat is a pressure to perform. Absolutely, 100% get that. Luke, I would also say this: if you can hire someone on salary, there is a pressure to perform for them, and you have that pressure. It's like, if they don't perform, was it worth it? This is the answer. Like what I'm going to say right now is the answer to your problem for both parties, for the person being hired and the employer. So what you're going to do is this: hire someone on salary. It's probably going to be a $2,000 a month salary plus a commission based on whatever the hell it is you're selling on the back end. Whether that's a wholesale deal for 15 grand, a coaching product for 10 grand, a roof for 20,000, whatever the hell it is, right? Your commission's up to you and your business and your profit margins. So the 2,000 salary upfront is going to be correlated to a 90-day probation period. Okay, 90 days of probation. And then what's going to happen is this: the first 45 days, they have to hit their metrics in terms of learning. Your first 2 weeks, you're usually going to be just learning and pouring into the person, getting them comfortable with the product, the process, the service, the script, the whole nine, right? And then what's going to happen is you have 45 days. 2 of those weeks, 14 of those days are going to be spent training this person. And then you have an extra roughly 30 days, a month almost, for them to actually take the damn action and learn on the job and talk to people and talk to leads. And as long as you're doing your job as a business owner, providing them with quality lead flow, right? Remember, they're not going to get their first paycheck. They're not going to get hit. They're not going to incur any of their salary for the first 45 days. So in that first 45 days, as long as they're hitting their metrics and they're growing and learning and putting in the action at day 45, right? What's going to happen is this: you're going to incur their first partial salary, which is going to be $1,000. Okay. They're going to get like a little stipend pay of $1,000. That's going to reward them. It's going to keep them hooked to you longer. And it's also not going to hurt you too much because it's $1,000. Here's the key. If you've done your job in providing them quality lead flow and enough of it, right? In any business model that you're in, chances are in those first 45 days, if you have quality talent that's full time, you will have a signed contract or a signed sale in any business that you're in. The only reason that it won't happen is if you have shit leads. You got shitty leads and not enough of them, they will not get a contract in their first 45 days. But if you hire a competent salesperson, and we'll show you how to do that later, because we're going to show you how I personally hire, how these guys hire, how to get the right talent in so you're not wasting your time, is they in the first 45 days should be able to get a contract, right? Have you made money on them yet? Probably not, depending on what you're selling, right? Because you probably haven't fulfilled on the product and received payment from a consumer or a prospect or a lead yet, but you probably have a signed agreement, a verbal, a close, an open escrow, whatever the hell it is, right? And then you have a reward. You're going to pay them $1,000. They're going to keep going for the next 45 days, okay, for the next 45 days. In that time, what's going to happen, even if you're in real estate, as long as you provided them a hot lead that was maybe an inbound direct mail to some quality niche data, what's going to end up happening is that deal they contracted very often is about to close or may have already closes by that 90-day cycle based on a good inbound cash conversion cycle, right? And even if it hasn't closed yet, it's going to be closing, and they've probably already generated more than one contract at this point. So even if a few fall apart, one will close and get you paid, right? So in the 90-day mark, they incur the full $2,000 salary, right? It kicks in, right? And then the quarterly commissions come out. Almost 8 out of 10 times I've told someone to go do this, and this has happened for me, guys. By the 90th day, what I usually do is I rig it by giving them extremely hot lead flow. I overpay for some really hot leads, right? In the first 90 days, guess what ends up happening by the 90th day when it's time for me to pay their $2,000? They've already closed the deals, and we've already made a $15,000 check. We've already made a $20,000 check. And even if we haven't, we have a pipeline profit of 50, 60K. And that is actually how you can build your sales team, having the benefits of a salary structure, a W-2 structure, a work agreement, the whole nine, without actually having to front load the money and actually making sure that if you've hired the right talent, and guess what, guys, if they suck and the deals aren't closing, right, and your lead flow is good, you know it's good, you can actually fire them because they're not hitting their metrics that you've set out for them in their probation period. It's the whole point of the probation period. So then you never actually have to come out of pocket for them either. And all of this can be structured in a probationary work agreement. And then Luke said it, then they don't get paid.
So what I'm like, I agree with you 100%, Sam. What I know is an objection with most people is when the people are in the position where, like you described the individual earlier who's making $500,000 in salary, asking, should I go and start calling? Shouldn't I go and do the work first? what I'm afraid and concerned for them, and I can hear this objection coming up in their mind, is, but how do I know if I have quality leads, Sam? What if my acquisitions person, I think they're good, and they're telling me that the leads I'm sending them are crap? Because how often do we hear acquisitions people asking for better leads? So now, like at that standpoint, if someone's new and they're like, man, but I also understand I shouldn't go back to the beginning, and I know I don't need to start cold calling to understand what a quality lead is and what quality leads look like for my business. How do I understand what a quality leads for my
Absolutely.
business look like?
So here's the thing. I'm gonna mention this. You're hitting an interesting point. A lot of people will be like, "Well, Sam, I don't have the money to afford, PPC or Facebook ads or direct mail, all these things." You don't have to. You actually don't have to, guys. I've done over 100 joint venture deals, JV deals. I don't even know how many. But we stopped counting. I think we're probably at like 250 deals closed in like the next like month or two. And the reality is a ton of them, at least over 100 of them, have been JVs, joint ventures that I've paid no money for the leads, that I didn't come out of pocket. So the reality is whenever you're in a point of your business and you need something, you need a resource, but you don't have the actual capacity, money, experience-wise, or whatever, to actually get the resource, pay for it, guess what? You have to become resourceful. And that's the key. So if you need a resource that you don't have, guess what? Now you have to become resourceful. And so how do we do that? Guys, there is no shortage of human beings who are generating the leads that you want to be closing and are happy to give them to you. Happy to give them to you. You may think that they're not out there. Guys, I can literally put up one post in any Facebook group that I'm in, on my social media, anything, and say, hey, who is generating inbound quality leads and doesn't have the time to follow up on them? Me and my full-time salary W-2 closer will handle all of them for you. And you will have 10 people raise their hands. I promise. I promise you. So even if you don't want to do that, okay, well, Sam, I don't really have a ton of money. I don't have enough money to go drop a direct mail campaign. And I don't want to do JVs. Sweet, easy. Business credit stacking is a thing. Small business loans are a thing. Getting a financier to come in. That's what I did, guys. I was an operator who didn't have money. I had a ton of time and almost no experience. So what did I do? I went and found a whale who had deeper pockets than I did. And I basically said, I will work my guts out building this business. I just need you to basically put your credit card on every bill. And they said, hell yes, because they wanted to make wholesale money without doing the wholesale. You know what that cost me up front, guys? Nothing. They took the risk. They took the chance. So for me, the truth is, Marlon, when it comes down to not having the money to generate quality leads, I think that's a non-issue. I really think that's an issue of you lacking resourcefulness and not actually you lacking resources. Because if you lack the resource, that's fine. A ton of other resources that you can go get. You just have to be creative in your approach to go get them. That also being said, if you don't understand what a quality lead looks like, you 1,000% need to pay down your ignorance debt. You 1,000% need to pay down your ignorance debt in what a quality lead has to look like and how to generate these things. Guys, we did an entire series on generating leads, right? An entire masterclass series for free, guys, for free, called Lead Gen Mastery. I can't remember which episodes they were, but it was like 4, 5, 6 episodes straight. We went over cold call, texting, PPC, Facebook, direct mail, all of them. Go back and watch them. They're completely for free on YouTube. And then pay down your ignorance debt. But Marlon, unless I'm not understanding the question, to me, I see that as a non-issue.
Yeah, no. So am I frozen? No, you're absolutely right. It is a non-issue, and this is why I wanted to bring up the objection, because I know what causes people to freeze. And the second thing there that would cause people to freeze is they would say, well, Sam, you felt comfortable going and finding this whale, going and getting the business loan, getting the credit cards at 0%, but I never done this before. You have the confidence. You know you can go and spend $20,000 tomorrow and bring back in $300. Right? I've never done that before, Sam. What if I spend the $20,000 and I get myself in debt and now I'm in an even bigger hole? And so I like that you answered that, which is go back and watch the content that's already been uploaded on these channels for free. That's been uploaded on the Think Big podcast for free, and educate yourself. Be an informed entrepreneur, be an informed investor, be an informed business owner. So I love
Yeah,
that.
guys, I'm a firm believer that 10 years ago wholesaling was a different story, right? 10 years ago wholesaling was a different story because the information that we have available to us now was not there 10 years ago. Hell, I'm a guy who does master classes all the time and shows you how to do everything, and these are things I learned from rooms where I'm paying 50 grand a year to be in. The reality is there is an ignorance debt that we all have to some capacity, but to pay down that ignorance debt right now with the internet, even through free resources through our social media alone, there is no ignorance debt that you can't pay down, at least learning from us, because we share it so freely. So an ignorance debt is never an excuse, in my opinion. When it comes down to, you mentioned just having the conviction or the confidence to go to these people, having not done it before. Guys, that was my first time in my life I'd gone and asked anyone to do anything for me in terms of giving me money, right? I wasn't securing it against real estate. I didn't own any goddamn real estate. And I was basically asking them to drop $20,000 a month on this theoretical marketing plan that I had never enacted before. But what did I do? I did my best to pay down my ignorance debt, to fill in the blanks as much as I could with the resources I had at the time. And then I did one thing critical, and that is I bet on myself that I would get it done. If the leads didn't work, if the deals didn't work, if it all fell apart, it doesn't matter. I would go get a job and drive Uber and go flip burgers if I had to. I would go do OnlySams to make sure I made those people whole. And that was the commitment that I made to them. So as long as you have the confidence, not in the deals working, as long as you have the confidence in yourself as a business owner to get the shit done, it's all that matters, in my opinion.
So I'm going to say something to follow up with that, because I'm going to hand the mic back over to you, Sam, because Sam, you are always super tactical. And I want to emphasize that point right there, because that's as close to like anything spiritual you will get from Sam, which is understanding that conviction in yourself. I truly know this for a fact, in my heart, in my mind, and in my experience, that when a person is truly locked in and convicted on their belief, convicted on what they say they're going to do, and they commit wholeheartedly, the world, the universe, God, faith, people, everything gets behind them to make it happen. You may not get the exact path you thought you were going to walk, but you do get to the destination if you truly commit. If you are a half committer, if you're a half sender, you will get hurt. If you're a half sender, my best advice to you is don't play this game. Okay, Mike's back to you, Sam.
That's so good, dude. And 100%, guys, this room that I'm in, when that whale was dropping 18 to 20 grand a month on me consistently, I literally did not leave this room for 10 hours a day pounding the phones to make sure I got the deals done. Was it scary? 1,000%, because I'd never had someone take the gamble on me like that, right? But what I did is, it wasn't even a gamble. It was a surefire thing that they would make their money. If the deals went south and we didn't close them when we were supposed to, they were going to get their money back with the return. It just may not have been right then and there, but it was going to happen, and I was damn sure of that. So, I want to hit this question real quick. Jordan asked, how did you structure that partnership with your whale? You're actually about to do that right now. Cool. So at the time, in the beginning, I was over giving because I was an unproven commodity, right? If I were to go do this right now, it would not be the same setup, because I have proven myself and I have a track record of success. At the time, I did not have that same track record of success. So what I did is this: the split was 70-30 and 70% in their favor. And after the fifth deal, it was 50-50. We rolled that until I had a substantial enough marketing budget, and I've paid down my ignorance debt to be able to go do it all myself. So Jordan, that's the answer there. Okay, amazing, guys. I want to hit this because people, I think everyone freaking hires wrong. Alejandro, a lot of our followers, our interviewers here, are in communities or mentorships or masterminds, and they have been told a very, very consistent thing, and that is they should hire other people in the rooms they're in. They should be squatting up. They should be working together. And I'm okay with working together. But do you think when you're building a business, you should be hiring from people in other mentorships that you're in?
From my personal experience, no. And I say this because if we're in the same atmosphere or mentorship, then we're probably looking to achieve the same goals in our own different ways. So if I'm trying to build a business, you're probably trying to build a business a different way, which it's always going to contradict the way we work together. So again, just from my experience, I would say no. I would probably never hire someone again that it's in my same mentorship or in the same just atmosphere or looking to achieve the same goal. I want to hire someone that's looking to achieve something different that fits within the same business that I'm looking to grow in a certain department. All right, you're muted, Sam.
Sam, you're muted, bro.
Oh, I love this. Oh, look at that. Mandisa from Pad Split is calling me. Give me one second. I'm gonna answer. Tell her we love her because she helps us buy rental properties, and I'm gonna tell her we're on a podcast.
Shout out to Mandisa.
Hey, Mandisa, I am so sorry. I'm live right now on a podcast with Mindset Marlon Johnson and Alejandro Alvarez.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
They all said you're amazing and beautiful, and they all love you.
Oh, call me back. I have this brilliant idea, and I need to run it past you.
Sounds good. Okay, we'll do. All right, talk
You're
soon.
amazing. Bye.
Bye. I'm excited to see what that idea is because she comes up with some really good stuff. So, Alejandro, you got it right, man. I firmly believe this. Marlon, I'd love to hear your take on this. I think there's a period in your life where you're going to hire based on a certain pipeline, or there might be a certain exception that it may make sense to hire someone from a community or a mastermind or mentorship that you're already in, right? To hire potentially someone who is a peer. I firmly do not agree with that. I firmly do not agree with that. I think it's actually a short-term win at a long-term cost. And I see people who are in our communities, you guys have seen this, right? Where people, they constantly keep hiring from these communities and masterminds that they're all in, and they're trying to, win together, right? And they may be a leader in a community or a mastermind, and they hire a newbie or something. The problem ends up being what? In 2, 3, 4 months, that newbie has been able to pay down their ignorance debt and maybe even make a little bit of money. And inevitably what's going to happen is they leave. Why? Because they were in the same room as you trying to build their own ship. So I'm sorry, guys. Are there exceptions sometimes? Yes. Some of the best people I have in my ecosystem that have come to work for me are people that were from these masterminds. But guess what? I had to go through about 250, right? 250 people who wasted my time to find one Sasha, who I'm going to make $1 million in assignments with Sasha in the next 12 months alone, just with her. And so the reality is we could have found someone equally as amazing, right? And that's a high bar that she set. But the reality is I didn't have to go through those 250 people. So I firmly believe no matter which industry that you're in, guys, do not hire from a mastermind that you're in or a mentorship or a community. I don't give a damn what anyone says. Squad up, do deals with each other, but don't hire them. Because when you hire someone, you need them to perform. Okay. And there is a power difference. There is an authority difference. Okay. And so what's going to end up happening is this. I'm a firm believer in hiring from Indeed. And that's something no one in our industry talks about, because we've got such a big squad up culture, and I love squatting up. We do tons of JVs, but I think for hiring within your business, I think squatting up is the dumbest thing on earth. And I think you want to go hire from an actual job listing place where someone is not looking to be an entrepreneur, where they're looking for a job. If you are hiring for a job and you hire another entrepreneur or up and coming entrepreneur, they will not do it because entrepreneurs are not properly employable. What's going to end up happening is you want to go and post on a job posting site. Why? Because you want someone who's applying for a job. So when you have them in a role and they stick to that role, there is no surprise. There is no rug pull. There is no them leaving to go build their own company. So that being said, you need, guys, I'm sorry, for a lead manager, cold caller, closer, acquisitions manager, dispo, whatever the hell it is, you need to get good at building job descriptions. Like, that is a critical thing. A critical freaking thing is you need to get really good at building out job descriptions and job roles. And this is something I see all the time. Marlon, I'm sure you've seen this a lot, where people basically have a friend or they have a couple homies and they say, I want to work with that person. I think they'd be a good employee from me. And what they do is they take that person and they build a job or a role around that person. Is that the right way to do it?
No, and it's, I think everyone does it. I know personally I have done that in the past. So I'm not even going to speak from a place of better than thou. I have absolutely learned my lesson of grabbing a person and then trying to build the seat around them versus building the proper seat and then finding the person who has the right butt that fits.
There you go. There you go. And so I would agree. I think that a lot of people will continually find out that when you try to hire a friend or you try to hire someone that you like and you think that they're great, you think love their energy, love their drive, love their ambition, they seem amazing, and you just want to have them in your ecosystem. And then what's going to happen is this: you're going to put your business on hold and try to build a role around to suit them. The problem is, did your business need that role right now? And very often the answer is hell no. The answer is you just created some ethereal bullshit product or bullshit role that your business doesn't need, and it's a distraction from the bottom line of your business. The reality of being a good business owner or a good CEO is understanding what your business needs right now in this freaking moment and being critical, being cerebral, being an assassin about maintaining that integrity of that role, of understanding what it is that you need right now. And then what you're going to go do is this: without a name or a person in mind, you want to then go and document day by day, task by task, step by step. What does a killer in this role do? Okay. And then what's going to end up happening is this has no face, no name. You don't know who it is, but what you've created is a perfect avatar, right? Guess what, guys? That's your job description. That's your roles and your responsibilities for that role, right? And then what you do is you format it nicely, make it look a little pretty, and then you go and post it on Indeed, on jobs.com, on onlinejobs.ph if you're going for overseas talent. And then what's going to end up happening, guys, is it's going to be insane the amount of talent that reciprocates. And the beauty is this, guys: the people who are looking, right? Luke Mbongo says something phenomenal. I love it, and I disagree with it wholeheartedly. He says, I challenge that by saying that some of those people realize they are better at number 2, number 3, number 4 in the organization. Luke's right. Objectively, Luke's right. The problem is this: I, as a business owner, don't have time for you to figure out what the hell you want to be in life. I don't have time for you to figure it out on my dime in my business to figure out that, I don't want to be a closer. I'd rather be your TC. Right? Well, my business needs a closer right now. My business doesn't need a TC right now, right? So I want you to be critical with what your business needs right now, and also be critical that you don't have the time to waste for someone else to figure it the hell out. That's critical, guys. You will waste so much time doing that. Been there, done that. Trust me, don't do it. Here's the beauty of going and posting that job description on an Indeed job posting board or jobs.com or whatever it is, right? The beauty is this, guys: who is on those job posting boards, looking for them, looking at them day in, day out? It's the people that have decided mentally, spiritually, where they're at in their life, that they need this role right now, and this is a fit for me. Luke, when you go bring someone into your community, into your organization, into your ecosystem, and then you go and try to go find, and you try to go hire them for a role, they decide like, hey, I don't want to be this role, I want to be something else. The problem is you just don't have the time to let them figure it out. You will waste your time doing that, right? Versus when I go post a job posting for a sales director, and this is the role, and this is the experience required, and all these things, and I put that on Indeed, right? The reality is, as long as I set my filters properly, 90 out of the 100 people that respond to that will be potentially qualified for that role. They will have had the experience if they actually read the the description. And then if I set my filters properly, they will actually have the experience that I need them to have. And they'll also be in a position in their life where they are seeking that job and seeking that pay right then and there. They're not trying to go be an owner or even, a director or something else, or be something else in a company outside of that role. 100%, that pivot burns money. So
yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Here's a thought process that I think a lot of people miss when they're thinking about their business. I've learned to think about business from 2 standpoints. Of course, you're always doing commercial, you're doing customer reaching marketing, right? Like you're always selling, you're marketing and selling outwardly to your customers. A lot of people forget that big businesses, true strong businesses, do marketing and selling internally to their employee, to the right people that are coming inward. So the same way, if you're in real estate or if you're selling beauty products, you identify who your ideal customer is, understand who that client is, understanding who the right type of person that would be the best fit in your business as an employee is. Identify, like, there are people who absolutely value stability more than they do a high earning potential. Or like, there are people like, hey, I'd rather earn $80,000 a year, absolutely stable, locked in, versus having the chance to earn $500,000, but I might also only earn $50,000. They don't like that fluctuation. But you have to know how to speak to that right person, because when you do, then you start to. I always use Trader Joe's as an example. If anyone's ever shopped at a Trader Joe's, if you've ever been to one Trader Joe's, you've literally been to them all, because every single employee at Trader Joe's has the exact same personality type. They're the same characteristics. They greet you the same way. Hey, welcome to Trader Joe's. Like, they're all the same type of person. I love Trader Joe's. I really do.
Is
But
it like
Trader
Chick-fil-A?
It's just like Chick-fil-A. It taught me that, wow, they are really dialed in with understanding who they're looking for. And then they're clearly making descriptions and putting them in places where these sort of people hang out. Because here's the interesting thing. I can guarantee you that Alejandro and I can guarantee you Sam, the two of you have never seen an ad ever to work at Chick-fil-A or an ad to work at Trader Joe's. And you two, if you ever worked there, you guys would suck as employees there. And I've never seen an ad for it either. And I was like, man, that's so crazy. I've never seen a job posting for these places because they figured out where to put their job posting. So Sam mentioning putting it on Indeed and letting it find the right people, I think is critical. And Sam, I got to say, I love your approach to getting the job description. I did mine slightly different. And I think you might like this. Because of how lazy I am, and I was that kid when I had to write book reports, the hardest part was starting, because it's like you start with this empty paper, and I would sit there and stare at it for hours. I was like, I need something that I can edit. And if I have a little something, I can start editing it and making it mine and making it better. What I did was I looked at entrepreneurs who did really freaking great jobs at putting SOPs and hiring processes together. And one in particular stood out to me, Brandon Dawson. You guys might be familiar with him if you know Grant Cardone. Brandon Dawson is the engine that came in as an entrepreneur to Cardone Ventures that is taking that company from $1 billion valuation to a multi-billion dollar valuation. And he is such a high-level entrepreneur. His SOPs are so dialed in. What I did was I went to Cardone Ventures job listings. I looked at what they had written for acquisition positions. Actually, I looked at all of their job listings and I copied all of their job listings as a template. And then I started to tweak it to fit my business. Guys, in school, this was called cheating. In the marketplace, this is called leverage. This is called being resourceful. I couldn't afford a Brandon Dawson, but I was able to go on the internet and find his work and duplicate it. So for those of you that are like me that are not going to sit down, or if you try to sit down and write your own job descriptions, it would take you a whole weekend because you would spend the first 78 hours just looking at a blank sheet of paper. Go on Indeed and find some of the best companies in the world, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Cardone Ventures that have these sales positions, and pull one of their job descriptions and then begin to use that as a template to create your own.
That's so damn good. I feel like a dipshit now because Marlon's version of being resourceful was to just go and look and literally reverse search the damn job posting and then find it and then copy and paste it. My idiot self paid 25 grand for SOPs. Damn. Our version of resourceful. So Marlon's officially, he wins the resourceful bucket. Like, I thought I had it down and Marlon just whooped my ass on that. That is genius, man. That is genius. So I'm gonna through inspiration of that, because that just clicked with me, and I'm like, well, I feel like a dipstick. Guys, we're in any market that you're in any market that you're in any business that you're in, any business model that you're in, there's going to be a bigger player. Always. And that person crushes. If you're a wholesaler, trust me, there is a bigger wholesaler in your market. And here's what's beautiful about different markets is different markets sometimes require different approaches in job descriptions and roles. So, guys, hack the system. Hack the system, like Marlon said. Go find out who's the big player. If you're a wholesaler in Calabasas, California, and you in Calabasas, California is an expensive market, it's going to be a lot different than Columbus, Ohio, right? So if you're in Calabasas, California, all you have to do is basically just go and reverse search through Google and find out basically who are the big players. And you're going to find a bunch of generic ass names in wholesale, Calabasas cash offers, California cash offers, blah, 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 blah. You guys get it, right? You're going to find those companies, and then you're going to go to Indeed and basically just keep searching for sales reps for cash offer companies, right? For home solutions, property solutions. These are all wholesalers, right? And what I want you to do is basically, because when they go and post a job posting, they're not posting it under some fake name. They're posting it legitimately in their company's name, right? And then what you're going to do is find the companies who have all these job posting for sales rep, for closer, for all these things. They may call it something else like an acquisitions manager or an acquisitions representative or something to that effect. You're going to find the companies, the LLCs on them. And what's going to happen is this: you're going to reverse engineer their websites, and then you're going to find out who owns these things. You're going to find out that some of them are big players on social media. And what's going to end up happening is this: you are going to go and reverse engineer and copy the job postings of companies who do 7 figures a year in your market. And you better believe that if they're doing 7 figures a year in your market, they've been in the game probably a fair bit of time, and they also understand your market better than most. And then steal. Ethically steal. Dude, that's actually one of the filthiest hacks I think we've ever given in over a year. Damn, that is actually one of the most tactical things I've ever heard. Holy crap. Wow.
This is a rare moment for me when I get to blow Sam's mind, so I'm just gonna soak it in. I love seeing that smile.
Dude, that is, oh my God. And you know me, bro, like we're scaling and we're hiring, and I'm just like, how many times did I offer someone a lot of money to get their SOP for a job posting, and I'm just like, I could just go to Indeed and find out. That is genius. Okay, guys, I love it. Unfortunately, we are over time. This is a topic that would take 17 hours for us to properly go over when it comes down to hiring people. The reality is we don't have all the time in the world because Marlon has to recontinue his run so he can get to Central Park and absolutely crush the end of that run. Alejandro, do you want to carry us out, brother?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up to the Think Big podcast. And if you got any value from this episode today, as you should, because when Sam Singh speaks, it's nothing but facts and great information that can make you a multimillionaire. So please, if you gain any value, share it with your friends. We're not asking for your credit card. We're not asking for your social security, your blood type. We just ask for a simple favor. If you gain value, is to share this with your friend. Tag us on Instagram. You can tag us. All of us are on Instagram. Where's a little @ thing? There we go. Mine's that's really Alvarez. Mine's at Marlon, Sam Singh. Tag us, send us a DMs if you need help. And of course, see you guys next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Arizona time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time.